Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Today we have the new factory bikes release. I'm going to be going through all of the 250 factory bikes, trying to find the best one, comparing them to each other, not the OEM bikes. That's for another video. And if you guys are interested in hearing my thoughts on the OEM bikes, go ahead and go to my last video, because that's what I did. I went through and did the same thing with the OEMs, but today we're going for the factory bikes. All right, so we're gonna go through, we're gonna use them all, both motocross and supercross, here on the Lawrence compound here, and give it my best go and give you guys my thoughts and opinions on the whole thing. And one thing that already pisses me off about this CRF in particular, the sound mod sucks. It's so quiet, and I had to turn my game up quite a bit for it, but that could just be a me thing because I run my master volume typically pretty low, around that like 40 to 45 area, so that could just be like a me thing. But other than that, so far so good. I like the way that it kind of feels. It feels a little unrealistic though with the lightness of it. I guess it's very light and different than what I'm used to. And in my opinion, these tires really aren't the best for realism either. But if you guys are looking to have fun with the game, I guess you don't really need that realism. But for me, I like the realism of the other tires. These ones are kind of rough, and that's kind of a me error. You should be able to withstand that though, but I don't know. I don't, like I said, don't have much time on these at all, so kind of getting a feel for them. So basically I'll just spin a couple laps here on the motocross track and then go over to the supercross track and figure that out for a couple laps, and then we'll do the same thing for all the bikes pretty much, and just go through and give you guys a 1 out of 10 opinion on the whole entire bike. And these bikes work a lot different than the OEMs, so it's a lot, you know, better for me and my settings to be comfortable. And instead of that right now, it's kind of just like learning what you can and can't do all over again. So like I said, lack of time definitely makes you struggle with these bikes. My settings just could work a little differently than other people's because I ride a little different than most people in the game. So stuff like that, like I'm obviously not as smooth. I'm kind of a tapper, if you will. I don't use rider lean. So the way I'm putting myself at a disadvantage basically. And just like that's so painful. Like, I don't want to do that. I feel like I did nothing wrong really right there, but obviously I'm sure some of you guys are gonna say otherwise. And the power feels nice, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it feels good, but I don't know, it's not unrealistic, but it's an easier time getting through everything, and that's nice. Other than that, I don't really know. It works out really well on motocross, but we'll go see how it translates on supercross. We'll just hop on this track real quick here, see how it does doing this out of the whoops. It does a good job. We can get a nice quad. Okay, I mean, that's kind of a downside. Obviously you don't really want to do something like that, but it'll happen occasionally, especially on these factory bikes. And it's not saying like you can't ever, not do that, and you can obviously tune the bike to a way that you would like. But overall, I mean, it seems pretty easy to come in here and dislike it on supercross with the default settings and stuff if you're not exactly a familiar player with these bikes. I would give it the benefit of the doubt and give it a 7.10 for the CRF 250. So basically, yeah, what I'm doing, going in here and just setting the spec tires and just typing in MX and going to the track. It sounds like most of these sound mods are quieter anyways, so might just be a factory versus OEM thing that they do differently. I'm already loving the snap from this Husqvarna. You can kind of move around with it, be aggressive, but especially in second gear, like you can kind of just burst in and out of turners. What am I talking about? Turners? I just said it again. Turns. Golly, can I talk? It actually pisses me off how bad my brain works on some days. I obviously don't get the recommended amount of sleep. That's besides the point. We're here to test these bikes and tell you guys how they perform. But you see something like that super fun and super nice and super cool to have that capability to do that on these sort of bikes, or on these bikes I should say. And there it is again. See this line right here? I got it pretty easily on the CRF. You can kind of jump into there and then double, but you can't. I came in there a little cross-eyed anyways, so I didn't really expect the world. So a lap around the motocross track, it's okay. I just think the front end's a little bit even more delicate on this one, or I'm pushing it a little bit harder, one of the two, compared to the CRF. But I don't know, it's all right. I don't think it's exactly better than the CRF yet. I could see why this could impress me on supercross though. This bike's a little bit different than the Honda, and it seems like it might be able to handle supercross a little bit better, as it's already kind of proving me wrong. Go up this berm, come down this straightaway. I find it hilarious the second I hit the brake, my traction comes loose. So I did that on the Honda a couple times. Got a little lucky right there that I didn't go down. And then get thrown out of whack. I missed a whoop anyways. Can't really blame that on the bike. But yeah, it makes these triples kind of nice. You don't really have to stretch things out a whole lot. You can kind of just like get over some of these things without really trying too hard. Kind of gives you that factory bike power that you're like to talk about, you know, and they're trying to incorporate with these bikes. Overall, I'd give it like a solid, I don't know, 7 out of 10. Wasn't really too impressed. Now on the Kawasaki, which has a nice little a little bit louder sound mod to it, I guess. Just the pitch of it's actually a little bit. I'm sure it's the same volume. So far, this is already my favorite. I'm literally 2 corners in, and this is easily my favorite so far. And that, like, that's a little, not questionable, but you can understand something like that happening. But to downside it and to have like your front wheel kind of twist with it instead of carve down the side of it. I don't know if you guys really get what I'm saying here, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that whole thing with the front wheel, and some of these bikes are just a lot different than others. Shoot back to this inside. Didn't really do a good job with my joystick there, trying to put myself in a good position. I've been taking the outside here. I'll go back to the inside. Stay towards the top of the ruts, and it kind of works out a little bit better. And lost a little bit of traction there. It's fine. It's pretty easy to rebound from, all things considered. Nice tabletop here. I don't know. I enjoy it a lot. Like, this one seems a lot smoother and just better than the others, in my opinion. And switch it up. Use another Supercross track. Well, this one's the easiest. It's on the same map. I'm on a time crunch anyways, and you get to gauge power from one bike to the other using the same track. Instead of going to different tracks, seeing who knows what, you get the same canvas, and you kind of get the same result every time, just different ways to do it, I guess. So if you guys get the analogy or metaphor there. See if we can finally get a good whoop section through these ones. We do want to turn that into like a, yeah, you could basically like stand still and then just hit a nice quad. I don't know, this bike, it's still, I think the theme of it is good on motocross, kind of on supercross. For most of these, I think you have to set the bike up a certain way to have full enjoyment of it, but I'd give this one an 8 out of 10. I still like think that might be a little lackluster here, but I don't know. The motocross is great on it, but once again, the supercross just isn't great until we find that one bike that's good at both, or spectacular at both. Now on the gas, it just sounds like these sound mods. I know it's the first thing I mentioned on each bike, but it just sounds like these sound mods are just revamped versions of what they had. Oh man, that's just rough by me, like a little inside dip there. But I don't know, some of me thinks you should be able to at least either 1, overcome that and be able to survive, or 2, just not get that wonky stuff in the first place. But I guess that's just one of those me opinions again. This one I like the gas quite a bit, because you can kind of keep that back wheel a little bit closer to the ground. It's got some nice power on it, but it's not like anything overwhelming, and it's very smooth and stuff, and it's okay. I'm gonna stop talking now. Gotta remember to be pretty delicate on the throttle back here, that way we don't throw the front end out of whack. And like I said, once you get to like learn and have time on these bikes, you only get a little bit better. Just mistime that. It's not anything to do with the bike. I'm gonna revert back to this outside because it's been good to me. That right there, that's what gives me an issue. Yes, I hit the corner wrong, of course. I know, I'm not even gonna hear the end of it, but the fact that it tossed me like that, and that's when I kind of get a bone to pick. I don't know, coming up at the end of the lap here, it's not like it's much different. It feels a lot like the Cowie and the Honda kind of put together with a little bit more smoothness to it. It's definitely up there so far. And what a whoop section. Okay, might have met our match here, as this one is doing really well on Supercross. It's got that right amount of power, and like I said, that smoothness to really take away from the power and add to the traction and the bullet turns and everything like that. It's doing a really good job around this. Get up over this for sure. Go 3, or I guess quad over that. Nice little whip there and land a little deep. But yeah, I don't know. I like this bike a lot. This one's by far the best. Still has its issues, and I think motocross is a little bit worse than the other ones, but I don't know. I'd say that this one's a good 8.5 so far, and that might be the highest, I believe. And I'm actually going to change things up a little bit. I'll go with the 90 tire to see if that fixes any of the front end complaints I have, because I already know you guys are going to be on me about that. So far, the Suzuki's great. I like the way that it feels kind of heavier in a way, but it also has kind of that touch to it that kind of you need. Headed up to this big old roller now. We'll see what sort of result we can get out of a scrub. I don't like, I prefer the OEM in the air, I'll tell you that. The physics for the OEMs, my opinion, with like the scrub, new stuff for that is definitely a little bit better. I prefer that over the factory bikes. I'm actually gonna try this outside out. It kind of plays to my strength a little bit, but still comes off a little sideways. The front end, not really liking that. So to have the thicker tire out in front, that's what I did with the switching from the 80 to the 90s. It's a lot more thick. It seems to work all right. It doesn't really fix everything, but if there is a fix, let me know, and I'll be happy to try these out again. Go triple in here as we the front end kind of locks up there. So coming into here, the way that the front end, see, like that, I don't know, something about that. For me, the Suzuki is a solid 7 out of 10. Nothing insane, might even be the worst one yet. So I'll give it a 6.5. And I'll go back to that 90 tire. It just seems to work a little bit better. It kind of minimizes it, but at the same time, oh my, fat front fender, holy crap. The 2 TM owners out there in real life right now, I mean, if your front fender's like that, bro, come on, no way you're actually riding this bike. So far, this one's definitely the most soothing and just fun for me to ride, at least. Like, I like to flow around a track sometimes I like to just absolute skirt around and try to go in the fastest I can, and I like to do that in like a more smooth way than an aggressive, like, you know, come out banging or whatever you want to call it. But this bike so far just definitely has that calm element to it, where it's nice and smooth. Head through the sand whoops here. We'll head to this inside, and once again the front wheel just can't really handle that. Now on Supercross with this bike, which is gonna be interesting because, like I said, it's a little bit more of that low powered, but it's nice and smooth. So we'll see how we can kind of use it on some Supercross. Get up over this nice triple, and then, I mean, if you want to call that a quad, you can, but come up a little short on that, so we'll have to double in on off. So yeah, this bike, to me, very subtle, very nice. I'd tie it with the, was it the gas that I liked a lot? I'd tie it with that, maybe even, might be a little bit better, but that could just be giving more time on the bikes and stuff like that, and these sort of physics, if you will. So, I don't know, I'd give it a 9. How about that, a 9? And here we are on the Fantic, I believe now. So we are going to absolutely rip this thing. Just want to see if we overjump it. Yeah, okay. So I was going to say, it's a pretty consistent thing when you overjump on these bikes. It seems to come back pretty easily. So I wanted to overjump and see how this bike reacted. Because through the first few, I thought it was a little bit different in the suspension area, but it's not. It's still good. And to the outside right here. And this bike also feels a little bit more heavy, but I mean, it still gets over some of the light things fine, so that's good. A little wheelie up there on accident. Didn't mean to do all that. Slowed us down a little bit. I'm actually going to try the inside here. I don't do it a whole lot. It's nice, and it sets you up a little bit better to try to get the initial line. I think that was designed to be done there. I don't know. It's a good bike. I'm not against it. This one, it's like an over-tamed bike, though. Like, it's not a whole lot. It feels like kind of the Suzuki of the OEMs, where it's a lot more planted. It just feels heavier, and it's just a little bit more memorable than the others, and a lot, I don't know, slower, I guess. I don't know. It's just different. Yeah, kind of struggling with this bike so far here on Supercross. I want to see if I can get the standing triple. We basically do. Go up here. Nice. Scrub down. Like to not bounce at the bottom of that, but kind of the price you pay for overjumping. I don't know, it's all right. This bike is different, a lot different, and it's not in a good way. Honestly, I don't prefer this sort of style, so I'm just gonna put this pretty far down and give it a 6, because to me, it's just not what you really go for when you're looking at a factory 250. Last one, the YZ250F. It looks like it's the 2024 model, and let's get her going. I can't wait to see what sort of power this thing has, because now the YZs are infamously known to have the power. Oh, that was a very nice scrub. Use some brakes at the top of that, but can't ride it out, unfortunately. This bike feels like they put more time into the physics or the way that it rides. I don't know. It's hard to say that, because I'm sure they gave all the bikes attention, and I'm sure some stuff's based off other stuff. So it's hard to say, but this bike just feels a little bit more complete, I should say, than other bikes. It just feels a little bit better overall with the way and realism with the power and how that's all applied. It just feels different, and no bad way at all, and it just feels a little bit just better than all the other ones so far. I mean, it's just got that feel to it that you just, I don't know, I seem to really enjoy. It's a little bit more light. You can kind of toss it around a little bit more, especially in the air. It just is a lot different, and it feels, in my opinion, a little bit better. Oh yeah, this bike's definitely a lot better than, so like, if I were the factory team, and if anyone from the factory, OEM, 1110, all that good stuff, this is how I'd base my bike. I didn't mean to say OEM, by the way, but this is how I base my bikes off of. I'd kind of start with this sort of thing, and I'd ride this and kind of figure out what's different with this compared to all the others, because this one, to me, just feels the most complete. And when you're looking for that balance of realism and factory, it's like right here in this bike. This is kind of the perfect one if you're looking for an all-around sort of deal. So this bike, for me, this is the 10 out of 10 for the factory bikes. But that'll be all for me. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, consider leaving a like, go down, subscribe. You guys got all my opinions, all that good stuff. flame me in the comments. I already know there'll be quite a few, so enjoy yourselves down in the comments, and that'll be all for me. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, like I mentioned, like, subscribe, means a lot. That'll be all. Deuces.